My female 27 sister, female 23, faked being sick to skip our aunt's funeral and went to Cancun instead. Throwaway because my sister follows my main account. And yeah, I know how bad the title sounds, but honestly, it's even worse than it seems. So my Aunt Elaine died last week after having pancreatic cancer for 8 months. It's been really hard for our whole family, but especially for my mom, female 54. Elaine was her only sister and literally her best friend since they were kids. They talked every single day on the phone for as long as I can remember, even after Elaine moved 3 states away about 15 years ago. My mom is completely heartbroken and hasn't been able to sleep or eat properly since Elaine died. I'm a nurse, and I've always been the responsible one in the family. My sister Krista always puts her social life first. She once missed our grandmother's 80th birthday party because there was a frat party the same weekend. That's just who she is. When we found out Aunt Elaine's funeral would be during Krista's spring break, she got really upset at family dinner about 2 weeks ago. We were all trying to finalize the funeral arrangements while my mom was crying into her napkin, and Krista started complaining about how she'd miss her only break this semester and already paid a deposit for a trip with friends. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I pulled her into the kitchen afterward and told her to get her shit together and show some compassion because our mom is grieving. She seemed to finally get it and even helped with some of the funeral arrangements over the phone in the following days. Then 2 days before the funeral, we get this email from Krista with a doctor's note attached saying she has severe strep throat, is highly contagious, and can't travel. I was suspicious because some of the wording in the note seemed off, but I didn't say anything because my parents were already so stressed. The funeral was really sad. My mom could barely stand during the service, and I had to support her most of the time. Everyone kept asking where Krista was, and my mom kept having to explain about the strep throat while crying. I was getting more annoyed about making excuses for my sister, but tried to focus on supporting my mom. During the reception, I stepped outside to check my phone because I'd felt it buzzing. That's when I saw an Instagram notification that Krista had been tagged in a photo. I opened it and saw my sister in a bikini on a beach in Cancun. The photo had been posted 2 hours earlier. She was holding a champagne glass and smiling. The caption read, "Spring Break 2023, best decision ever." I started scrolling through more photos and found a post from Krista with the caption, "Sometimes you gotta choose your own mental health. Are you kidding me?" I checked her friend's profile and found an Instagram story of Krista dancing at a beach bar while our mom was at her sister's funeral. I screenshot everything. But the worst part, the location tag showed they checked in at the resort 3 days ago, which means she was already in Mexico when she sent that doctor's note. She planned this whole thing. She faked being sick to skip her aunt's funeral so she could party in Cancun. I had to take time to calm down before going back inside, where I found my mom crying while looking through old photos of her and Elaine. And the whole time I'm standing there watching my mom cry, all I can think about is how Krista asked for money for emergency antibiotics that my mom sent her immediately. My mom was worried about her while sending her money, and Krista was using it to buy beach drinks. After the reception, I texted a colleague who works at the clinic on the doctor's note. Turns out the doctor, whose name is on the note, doesn't even work there anymore. She got the note from some template online and forged it. I don't know what to do now. Part of me wants to send the screenshots to my entire family and expose her. But another part of me doesn't want to hurt my mom any more than she's already hurting. She's sad enough about losing Elaine. I don't know if she can handle finding out Krista lied. Edit. So many people are asking if my sister has always been this selfish. And yes, she has been. When we were teenagers, she stole money from my graduation fund and my dad covered for her. She's always been the favorite and gets away with everything. Edit 2. To everyone saying I should tell my parents, I probably will, but I'm trying to figure out the right time. My mom is barely functioning right now, and I don't want to make it worse. And yes, I've confronted Krista about other things before, but she always turns it around and makes herself the victim somehow. Edit 3. No, my parents don't follow her on social media. She has a family-friendly account they can see and a separate one for her friends. I only know about the second one because her friend accidentally tagged her main account once. Now for the first update, it's been about 36 hours since I posted, and honestly, everything feels weird right now. I'm trying to process all of this while also supporting my mom and dealing with my own grief about Aunt Elaine. And yeah, I know I made a throwaway, but I'm kind of beyond caring if my sister sees this at this point. So after I found those photos of Krista partying in Cancun, I just stood there in the funeral reception parking lot for like 20 minutes, switching between being furious and feeling really sick. I tried calling her right away, but of course she sent me straight to voicemail. Typical. I left her a message telling her I knew where she really was and to call me back immediately, but she didn't. I ended up staying at my parents' house that night because my mom was in such bad shape. She kept waking up crying and calling out for Elaine. My dad was trying to help, but he doesn't really know what to do with extreme emotions. Men, am I right? So I just sat with her and let her cry and talk about Elaine until she'd fall back asleep. Anyway, I decided not to tell my parents about the Cancun thing right away. My mom was already upset about losing her sister, and I didn't want to make things worse immediately. Maybe that was wrong. I don't know. A lot of you commented on my last post saying I should tell them right away, and maybe you were right, but seeing my mom that night, I just couldn't do it. The next day, yesterday, we had this memorial lunch thing at my parents' house with all the extended family. People brought food over, and everyone was sharing stories about Elaine. I was helping in the kitchen getting drinks for everyone when my phone buzzed. Another Instagram notification. I probably should have ignored it, but I checked it. It was another post from Krista. Different bikini, tropical drink, giant sunglasses. The caption said, "Day 3 of paradise. Sorry, not sorry for choosing joy. Are you kidding me?" Choosing joy. While her mom is devastated and everyone thinks she's homesick with strep throat, I must have made some kind of noise or face because my cousin Brady, male, 31, noticed and asked what was wrong. I hesitated but ended up showing him the photos. He was just as shocked as I was. He said, "What the actual F?" But he said the actual word, avis. Brady has always been pretty close with our family, and he really liked Aunt Elaine. He immediately said I needed to tell everyone right away. I told him I was worried about hurting my mom more, and he said my mom deserves to know what kind of person Krista really is. After thinking about it more, I decided to at least confront Krista directly first. So I texted her. I sent her a screenshot of her beach photo and asked her to explain. After making me wait 20 minutes, she responded asking if I was stalking her social media. I told her mom was devastated about Aunt Elaine and worried sick about her. She claimed she needed this break for her mental health, and I wouldn't understand. When I pointed out she faked a doctor's note and lied to everyone, she said it wasn't that big a deal and Aunt Elaine wouldn't even care. This made me so angry. She had the nerve to speak for our dead aunt, who she couldn't even bother to say goodbye to. I told her mom was crying herself to sleep while she was partying. She told me not to tell mom because I'd just make everything worse. When I said she should have thought about that before lying, she accused me of always being jealous of her and said this was her life. I didn't even respond to that last one. Like, what am I supposed to be jealous of? Her complete lack of empathy, her ability to lie to our grieving mother. Throughout the day yesterday, I kept hearing relatives saying stuff like, "Poor Krista, she must be so upset to miss the funeral, and she's always so dedicated to her studies, and make sure to tell her we're all thinking of her." And it was making me seethe. My dad kept updating everyone about her condition based on texts she was sending him about how the antibiotics are helping, but she still feels terrible. And honestly, this is nothing new. My dad has always covered for her. When we were in high school, she stole $300 from my graduation fund to buy clothes. And when I found out and confronted her, my dad gave her the money to replace it and made me promise not to tell my mom. He said Krista was going through a phase and needed understanding, not punishment. She's been going through that phase for about 15 years now. The breaking point for me was when my mom was sitting with my aunt's best friend Marion, and she tearfully said she was going to FaceTime Krista later to cheer her up, because being sick and missing Elaine's funeral must be so hard on her. My mom was literally worried about Krista while deep in her own grief. I had to leave the room. So now I'm sitting here in my childhood bedroom at 6 a.m. and I haven't really slept. Everyone is staying one more day with another dinner tonight to finish going through some of Aunt Elaine's things that my mom brought back from her house. I think I'm going to show everyone the truth tonight, like all at once. My parents have a smart TV and I'm pretty sure I can connect my phone to it. Is that too dramatic? Maybe. But I've had years of private conversations with Krista about her behavior that never changed anything. And something Brady said yesterday keeps sticking in my head, that my mom deserves to know the truth. She does. She deserves to know who her daughters really are. I know this is going to cause a huge problem in my family, but I'm so tired of everyone making excuses for Krista while she does whatever she wants with zero consequences. She chose to skip her aunt's funeral to party in Cancun. She chose to lie about being sick. She chose to take money from our grieving mother for medicine she didn't need. I honestly don't know if I'm doing the right thing, but I know I can't keep pretending everything is fine. Edit. To everyone asking about my dad's pattern of enabling Krista, yes, this has been going on forever. When we were kids, she would break my toys and he would buy me new ones instead of punishing her. In high school, she totaled his car and he bought her another one the next month. He always says that's just how she is, like it's a personality trait and not just being a selfish person. Edit 2. Someone asked about Krista's relationship with Aunt Elaine. They were never super close, but Elaine always treated her well. She sent Krista birthday cards with $100 every year, even when she was going through financial difficulties. Krista barely acknowledged them. And yes, Elaine paid for my nursing textbooks one semester when money was tight. She was always generous, even though she didn't have much, to the people saying I should wait until after everyone leaves to tell just my parents privately. I've thought about that. The problem is Krista is really good at twisting things around. If I tell them privately, she'll have time to spin some story about how the photos are old or photoshopped or whatever. She's done similar things before. I feel like showing everyone at once prevents her from controlling the narrative. Now for the second update. So a lot has happened since my last post about 2 days ago. Like a lot. Last night was the dinner at my parents' house with all the extended family. There were like 20 people there, including some of Aunt Elaine's friends. My mom was crying a lot, but trying to hide it. She kept going to the bathroom and fixing her makeup. My dad was checking his phone every 5 minutes for updates from Krista about her recovery and telling everyone how she was devastated to miss everything. I was just sitting there feeling like I was in some weird reality where everyone was praising my sister for being sick while she was posting bikini pics from Mexico. I had to keep going to the kitchen to take deep breaths because I was so angry. Side note, when I was struggling to pay for nursing school, Aunt Elaine sent me money for textbooks, even though she didn't have much herself. She was always generous, even when it meant cutting back on her own stuff. Meanwhile, Krista borrowed $2,000 from Elaine last year for emergency tuition costs and then posted photos of a new designer purse a week later. Elaine mentioned it to my mom, who told me, and Krista never paid her back. Anyway, during dinner, my mom announced that she'd sent Krista some money for medicine and delivery food since she was too sick to go out. I almost choked on my water. That was IT for me. I'd been on the fence about exposing her publicly versus just telling my parents privately, but seeing my mom still taking care of Krista while grieving her sister, I couldn't take it anymore. After dinner, everyone moved to the living room to share memories about Elaine. People were passing around old photo albums and telling stories. Some people were crying, some were laughing about funny memories. I decided this was the moment. I know that sounds dramatic, but honestly, after years of private conversations with Krista, that changed nothing. I felt like I had to do something different. Plus, after our text exchange yesterday, where she had zero remorse, I was just done. Completely done. I casually mentioned that I had some special photos of Aunt Elaine on my phone that I wanted to share. My dad helped connect my phone to their smart TV so everyone could see. He basically helped me set up his daughter's public humiliation. My heart was pounding as he handed the remote back to me. I pulled up the forged doctor's note first and told everyone that Krista was never sick. The room got really quiet and confused. Someone asked what I meant. I started swiping through the photos. Krista on the beach holding champagne, Krista at a club, Krista with her friends captioning about choosing joy and mental health, all clearly time-stamped during and before the funeral. My mom made this sound I'll never forget, like a gasp and a sob combined. She said she didn't understand because Krista had sent her a doctor's note and asked for money for medicine. I showed the screenshots of our text conversation where Krista basically admitted everything. Marion, Elaine's best friend, was angry that Krista had lied about being sick to skip the funeral. My mom broke down crying, and several relatives rushed over to her. My dad stood up and told me that was enough, but he wasn't moving. He was just standing there staring at the screen while texting, probably warning Krista. My cousin Brady, who knew what I was planning, said I did the right thing, and a few other relatives nodded. I felt weird. Part of me felt good after years of watching Krista get away with everything, but seeing my mom so upset made me feel awful too, like I just added to her pain. But she deserved to know, right? Right. I couldn't stay after that. I disconnected my phone from the TV and grabbed my purse. Some relatives were telling me I'd done the right thing. Others were just silent. My dad was texting and calling Krista. I heard him tell her that I had shown everyone. I just said something about needing air and left. I drove home feeling completely drained. I took a sleeping pill as soon as I got home, put my phone on silent, and passed out. When I woke up this morning, I had 24 missed calls. 24. 9 from Krista, 6 from my dad, 5 from my mom, and the rest from various relatives. I had like 50 plus texts too. Krista's voicemails started with her screaming about how dare I humiliate her. The next few were threats that I'd regret this and didn't know what I just started. The last ones were her crying and begging me to fix it by telling everyone the photos were old or photoshopped. My dad's messages started with him saying I'd created a huge problem and made everything worse, but his later messages were calmer, asking me to call and help figure out how to fix the situation. My mom's messages made me cry. The first couple were just her crying. Then she left one asking if I was okay and saying she was worried about me. The last one she left late last night said she thanked me for telling her the truth and that she needed to know. I called my mom back first. She told me Krista had booked an emergency flight home and was now at their house. According to my mom, Krista is claiming she deserved a vacation after working so hard and that our family is toxic for not supporting her mental health needs. I cannot with her using mental health as an excuse. But the surprising thing was, my mom actually stood up to her. She told Krista she needed to apologize to everyone and pay back the money she'd taken for fake medicine. My mom said she's heartbroken, but also finally seeing clearly about Krista. When I talked to my dad later, he was more calm than I expected. He admitted he's been enabling Krista for years and said seeing everyone's reactions last night made him realize how bad it had gotten. He said he'd talked with my mom and they've decided Krista needs to experience real consequences for once. Krista is currently staying with friends and refusing to speak to anyone in the family except through angry social media posts about betrayal and how family should support you no matter what. The irony of her talking about family support when she skipped her aunt's funeral to party is astounding. I know my approach was dramatic, maybe too dramatic, but I've had so many private conversations with Krista over the years about her behavior and nothing ever changed. She always had an excuse or cried until everyone forgave her or got my dad to cover for her. Public exposure was the only way to make sure she couldn't twist the narrative like she always does. Things are definitely strained right now, but weirdly, I don't regret it. For the first time in maybe forever, Krista is facing actual consequences, and my parents are united in not rushing to fix everything for her. And I keep thinking that Aunt Elaine would probably approve of finally holding Krista accountable. Edit. To those asking if I feel bad about doing this so soon after the funeral, yes and no. I feel bad about causing my mom more pain during her grief, but I also think continuing to let everyone believe Krista's lie would have been worse in the long run. Several people have asked about Krista's financial situation. She's not struggling at all. My parents pay her entire tuition, her rent, and give her a monthly allowance. The money she took from my mom for medicine was just extra party money. For those suggesting family therapy, I brought this up to my mom today, and she actually seemed open to it. My dad is more resistant, but said he'd think about it. Krista will probably refuse, but honestly, that might be better at this point. Oh my fricking God, someone asked if Krista ever apologized, and I realized I forgot to mention, no, she hasn't apologized to anyone. She's still claiming she's the victim in all this because I invaded her privacy by looking at her public Instagram posts. I can't even.